guys, this is it. This is my finished product. Isn't that crazy? I'm just kidding. This is an actual sponge. Hey guys, this is Inka, and today I'm gonna be making the amazing edible dish sponge cake. So I know the concept in itself sounds a little bit crazy, but with the everything is cake phenomenon that's been happening lately, where literally everything is cake, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that there is also a dish sponge that is actually cake. I actually first heard about this cake when one of you sent me a message on Instagram, and I just remember being so completely blown away by how much it looks like an actual dish sponge, like literally like this. And when I did a poll asking you guys if I should make it, most of you said yes, and that is why I am here today to make it happen. So I know that Emma from Emma's Goodies and Emmy from Emmymadeinjapan have done this cake before. Emma even came up with this lovely lemon cake recipe that I think looks so good. But after doing some more research, I found out that the first person who actually invented and created this edible dish sponge cake concept is actually a pastry chef from the UK who's also known as a food illusionist. So I decided to give him a call and ask him all about how he first came up with this.
Hi, my name's Ben Churchill, known as the Food Illusionist. I've been creating food illusions online. I've been doing mainly sort of more traditional, like mirror glazed apples, beetroot cakes, a lot of TV and video, things like that. I thought, why don't I make something that looks so unappealing to people, so disgusting, but hide some nice flavors in it. So I thought, why not do a sponge? And on the word of a sponge as a sponge cake.
That kind of reminds me of how there's that everything is cake phenomenon that's happening right now. What do you think about that?
I think it's great that it's highlighting all this art that's going on. It's enabling people to push the boundaries, you know, people are thinking outside the box.
Could you also maybe run me through the process of how you make this sponge cake?
The main body of the sponge is an olive oil cake. You've got a bit of food colouring in, green food colouring, that's for the scrubby bit. It doesn't matter what that looks like because that's going to get crumbled up. You don't lose any of the flavour. If anything, it gives you a different texture of cake. Foam made out of lemon juice. You can't tell it from normal washing up foam, do you know what I mean? It's so realistic. And then it's finished off with an apple puree that's drizzled over to look like washing up liquid itself, and just do a bit of a scratching on the top. It depends what look you're going for. If you want a used sponge, you do that. If you want a fresh sponge, you just keep it nice and flat.
Since I'm going to be trying to recreate this sponge cake at home, and I also want, you know, other people to be able to recreate this, do you have any tips for us?
It's just taking your time a bit, really. Don't sweat over the things that are going to come together in the big picture. Enjoy it as much as they can.
You think that I'll be able to make it no problem?
You'll have fun with it, definitely. I hope so, anyway.
I'm actually really excited about making this happen. Food illusions are just so cool. For the most part, I will be following Chef Ben's recipe. It's going to be an olive oil cake, an apple puree dish soap situation. For the soapy foam part, I'm gonna be following Emma's meringue-based recipe. All right, with that said, let's get to making the cake batter. In my bowl here, I'm gonna just crack in 4 eggs really quickly. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add in the sugar, quite a bit of sugar, but we're trying to make a dish sponge edible and tasty, so I guess more sugar is a good thing. Just whisk it together. That is looking pretty good. The next step is actually to add in your olive oil. And the trick to making a really good olive oil cake is actually to buy really good olive oil. So I basically went out and bought the fanciest olive oil I could find. The olive oil is essentially substituting your butter. It smells really good. I'm gonna add in some flour as well, all of it. Some baking powder. Mix that in together carefully. I'm also going to add in a little bit of vanilla and of course lemon zest. I'm getting this like sticky, viscous batter, and what I'm going to do is actually separate some of it out so I can dye 1 part yellow and 1 part green. So I'm just pouring a little bit. I'm going to add some lime zest to the green cake batter. Now for the fun part of dyeing the cake batter. Just gonna add that right in, just to make sure that it actually comes out a more vibrant yellow. Oh, am I gonna get green? I think this is good to go. My yellow and my green, I'm gonna put them into 2 separate cake pans. Beautiful yellow color. Gently smoothing it out a little bit. Green cake is going in. This one doesn't have to be as perfect. I am going to go ahead and pop these in the oven. So now I'm just gonna let it bake and cool. And in the meantime, I am going to work on the apple puree dish soap, which sounds, again, super bizarre, but is very interesting. I'm gonna start off with my lemon juice, and I'm gonna add my sugar, good amount of sugar, some diced apples. I'm also going to add in some baked apples, since the one that Chef Ben did was actually a baked apple puree. So start blitzing everything. Once it looks like this, I'm gonna add in my green food coloring, the classic color of dish soap. Okay, this is my dish soap. Over here, my cakes have cooled. The yellow one is this big yellow pillow, and the green looks kind of grimy and, you know, like a sponge, which I guess is kind of the point. I'm gonna start off by trimming the yellow. That looks like a pretty spongy yellow. Cutting these sides, trim off the top and the bottom. Lining it up to make sure they're exactly the same size. I promise this is a clean sponge. Trim this part off. This texture is already like kind of really spongy looking in a kitchen sponge kind of way. I'm gonna put these aside. Oh my God, I almost threw my sponge cake in the kitchen sink because I thought it was an actual sponge. So here's what the green one looks like. Right now these brown bits kind of just look like dirty bits on this sponge. I'm gonna go with Chef Ben's method of crumbling up his green cake so we can essentially pile it up on the yellow cake. I have all my crumbled green cake here. Honestly look a little bit like moss right now. And then I also have my sponge. Now that I have the two parts ready, I'm just gonna scoop my little green bits on top, press it down like so. So it almost looks like a used sponge. This also helps make sure that it's just a thin layer. It doesn't have to be perfect because sponges are not perfect either. Do a final press. This is what I have right now and it looks insane. It actually looks like a sponge. This is crazy. So this is one of the ones I have that's used, right? I am going to now plate it up really quick with my detergent and also whip up some foam. Now, making the foam is fairly easy. I'm using some pasteurized egg whites, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a little bit of lemon juice, splash of vanilla. Now I can go ahead and whip it up. We're just trying to get it foamy. That's already looking very dish liquidy. Going to now pull my cake back in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some foam on top. I'm just gonna drop it right on there. That looks like actual foam. That's my dish soap. That is actually crazy. This is crazy. Look at this foam. It is so realistic. Actually looks like a really soapy kitchen sponge. I am truly in awe. I don't know if this is a bad thing to say, but it really just looks both amazing and disgusting at the same time, which looks like somebody left a used sponge on a plate. The title of my dish sponge cake, it is time to get a new sponge. So for comparison purposes, can you tell which one is real and which one is fake? This is insane. I truly think that this is so fun. The idea of like making something look like what it isn't. Sending a picture to Chef Ben to see if he approves. And he approves. Yes. But the real test, of course, too, is also to actually make sure that it is enjoyable. I'm gonna take a little bit of the, ooh, this texture even feels like foam. Cut right in here. It really just tastes like olive oil cake with a bit of the apple sweetness and a little bit of lemon, but I really do think the biggest draw here is being able to tell somebody that you ate a dish sponge. This was super fun. Thank you guys so much for suggesting that I give this a try. I hope you guys enjoy this video, that you'll give this a shot too, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.